Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
Steve Morris.
How's it going, Steve?
Doing well. How about you?
Not bad.
Burning up, actually.
It's getting a little warm up here now. Listen, it was warm when we came up, but I had a sweatshirt on. I was like, oh, I kind of want to wear the T-shirt and be warm. And now I'm wearing a T-shirt, and it's actually like, ooh, it's actually starting to get a little warm.
Yeah, the other day, remember how I was like, oh, that was perfect? So I turned it down like one level lower because it was perfect when we came up here. And if I come up here a couple hours before the show and turn it up, I figured it'd be fine. That's why when you're like, can you turn that up? I was like, man, it's hot. Dude. It had nothing to do with saving my propane. It had everything to do with I was already warm. I'm pretty sure I'm like, if I took this hat off, I would be like a brow of sweat. And not a nervous sweat, but it's nice and toasty in the studio above the garage.
See, if you should have a remote for that, and you'd have it right here, and you could turn it up and down, and you should work on that.
Well, Tim, I grew up in the South where we didn't really have things like that.
That's true.
We just had central air, and then the heat would blow out, too, I guess, if you needed to warm it up.
Mini split, yeah. So, yeah, it's supposed to be a very warm week.
I don't know, 50 on Wednesday, 55 Thursday, but with rain. So
yeah, I mean, I went yesterday.
Hey, if it's 55 degrees out and it's not raining, but it's got that little humidity right before the rain, so that means it probably feel like 60 something.
Yeah.
And the snow is melting. I'll be down there in the garden, picking up rocks, putting the rest of the fence up.
I'll believe it, like the rest of you will believe it when we see it.
Hey, I was supposed to have help putting that fence up last year, and then there was some disagreement between brothers of how to talk to each other nicely.
Oh, Rob was going to help you with the fence?
Yeah.
I believe that, too, when I see it.
Hey, I was going to help him with his stairwell.
I could believe
that.
that.
Have you seen pictures of it? It looks he did a great job.
He did it?
Yeah, he did it.
Good for him.
He probably motivated the fact that I wasn't there helping him.
Yeah, he did
probably
it
use
in
that.
hatred and
there was some
rage
spite,
and
I'm going to do this even better and more professional without his help.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's totally how it happened. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Whereas I took the younger brother approach and was like, I guess I'll do the fence next year.
Yeah.
You know, because once the plants start getting tall enough because I don't have the attachment for the tractor that people have, like it goes up on a pole and you just drive the tractor down and there's like tensioners that you can put up. But I'm not trying to get that professional. I'm just trying to keep out the occasional bear, which I'm going to put the electric up on top this year.
Yeah, this little electric would be, I mean, honestly, you probably could avoid having any other fencing except if you did one row of electric at like 6 inches up and then one, at probably the top or like middle or something. I think you probably could avoid even fencing it.
Yeah, but I like that. I think that has a nice look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because that would be like more of a temporary thing because I'd have to bring it down every time. And
what do you mean bring it down?
Like if I were to put up electric fencing, like I'm leaving the wood fence up.
You could leave it up, and you wouldn't really see it from here. I mean, it's just I'd use the wire one like I used on mine, and then they make things that you'd hook into it, and like I said, you put like 6 inches, and then at the top or whatever, and you just wouldn't obviously do the door because your door's well secured anyways, and you'd you just leave it there, and you could put your next to the tree or something the solar. You're going to use the solar one, which is fine. It'll work fine for like my animals. I hate using the solar because it doesn't work as well. But I'm also trying to keep cows in, and bears. If they touch it,
they might scare them a little bit.
Yeah, they're not going to like it. They're going to be like, okay, Granted, like you said before, if they really want to get it, they're going to get it. I've seen beehives that had stuff around it, and if they're hungry and really want it, like they get stung when they, and I'm sure it hurts after a while. Like it's not, they got thick hide, but I mean, if you take out a beehive, it would kill us. A bear, not so much, but it's got to not be so. Yeah. A determined animal will get in and get it, but you're just trying to keep out, you know.
I'm excited, too. I went and bought probably about $70 worth of seeds the other day. All I need now are basically my potato starters, which my blue Adirondacks, because I still have like 40 pounds. I got like 4 or 5 full bags down in the basement still, but they're starting to get eyes on them, so I can reuse them. But I want to do more. I want to try sweet potatoes, and I want to do more of the red and the whites were really good.
Yeah,
I gave you a bag of whites, right, or gold?
I think so, yeah. Love potatoes.
Anyway, I'm excited. That's the end of the weather is like I'm already thinking about spring, and it's February, and we're probably still going to get 30 inches of snow between now and May.
Yeah, Uncle Fred keeps saying, he's like, I think spring's here. And I'm like, you grew up here, right? You realize that this is totally like something to make you feel happy inside and give you hope, and then it'll get crushed in like 2 weeks or a week. Like it'll come along and just boom, and there'll be snow, and it'll be cold again, and you'll be. It's a game. Someone's playing the game.
I'm all for a global tropical forest.
Yeah, let's give that a try.
Yeah, well, like
In Florida, you get all that warm weather all the time, like equality, right? New Hampshire needs some warm weather.
Some warm weather. It's going to be nice though this week. We got it.
It's beautiful this week, though. Yeah. Yeah. So was it Sunday? Sunday. I went down and got super. I've had ice issues in the past down in the barn, but I fixed it last year, and I actually did a good job because I did fix it. This year, I fixed it from what it did before, but it's not good this year because. So I put my well in, and it's really wet over there. And as I dug back in the bank to get more space there, I've kind of exposed more, and I didn't have time to finish what I need to really do. So there's like a lot of water out behind the barn, and then just like water coming under the concrete.
Oh wow!
Yesterday, which, oh my gosh, shit! And there's nothing I can do, and that's not good because you don't want to wash dirt and stuff under the slab, so there's a void, and so. Anyways, the kids has been dumping the piles of like sawdust and, to clean the stalls just out back, like right out back. So I took a dump truck load of that yesterday, and of course I hadn't started the dump truck in a little while, and so I had to hook the excavator to it to charge the battery to jump it. I got it running, and I get down, like I drove way out back with it logging, and then I like dumped it, and it was stuck. I'm like, God, man. So I go down, get the excavator, go out, I'm just going to push it out. And I get up there, and it's stalled. And I'm like, I don't understand, because it was running for a few, So I jump it again, and I managed to, like, get it out of there. And so I actually brought it up the house, because I'm like, maybe the alternator's going. Because once it runs for, like, 20 minutes, you should be able to start it again. It was on, it was started up. But, yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but I managed to.
You got a lot of equipment problems all the time. The more equipment you have, the more expensive it gets.
It's crazy, yeah. And winter sucks, man, because stuff sits, and if you don't start stuff often, this is exactly what happens, It
reminds me I need to go down and start my summer equipment down there. I think I put gas saver in all of it, but just to make sure, I need to probably run them all for a couple minutes. And
like my generator down in the barn is like it's in ice. I can't even get it out. I'm like, son of a bitch. So the plan is I have it scheduled for May to get a big excavator that has the biggest one you can get with a blade, so I can still push dirt and stuff. I think I'm actually going to next to the well, like a little down, a little further. I think I'm going to dig it deeper to go for like a 15 plus foot, in that area, and then the well I have now, I'll just use those tiles, or whatever. But I just want it deeper so that I can put an overflow in it, like probably 3 feet deep, which should help all that. Because that's the problem. The well's full of water, which I put it exactly where I should have, the wettest spot, right? So I think the overflow is just coming out, and it's going all over like the back barnyard, and yeah, it's like I fucking hate snow and ice. And anyways, I got a dump truck load.
I noticed yesterday when we came over that you cleaned up a lot of stuff, like in the front of the house.
Yeah,
because like we moved it and then it snowed.
Yeah, so
kind of like collected that
throughout
snow.
the winter as the snow disappeared. We like
moved some stuff,
picked stuff up, and I mean that commercial fridge I never made it in the garage, just outside. It's still tipped over outside because that massive windstorm we had
Oh, is that what
tipped
did that?
it over. Yeah, it's still over, but it's all like icy and shit over there too. So it's man.
Hey, 60 degrees, hopefully. With rain, so that'll wash away maybe all that ice if it doesn't melt.
Hopefully, yeah, because ice is building up
On
down,
Wednesday.
like where the animal's pen is on the outside, that in the driveway. It's luckily it's just to go to the barn, but it's really starting to build up down there. And I mean, I had it a couple years ago, like literally going through the barn, and like I said, I fixed it since then. Like it's a lot better, but it's just there's so much to do. It's hard to when it's done, which will hopefully be next year, because I really like to finish something completely, but I got to start that field out back too, and yeah. Anyways, we went to Jeff Dunham on Friday.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Devin was sick, so old Steve will get the nod. And here, I'll show you a picture real quick. And this is our seats. Like, it was a Christmas present, so I'm not complaining as much as it's going to sound like I'm complaining.
No,
But
it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
they were straight on. The advantage, I told Andrew, I was like, here, here's the best part about the seats. They were straight on, and me and Lydia, especially, like, we're sitting right in the stairwell, like at the top, so that I didn't get all claustrophobic, because I really don't like crammed in with a bunch of people. I like aisles, just, I don't know, just me. I'm sure you're similar. Like it's
Well,
kinda
I mean,
like-
I did move whenever Johnny Elbows
you
came.
you did move. But I'm like, hey, where are our seats? So we go to the section, and right to the top, you couldn't go out any further because you'd be out of the building.
Yeah.
But no, it was awesome. I've seen him one other time on a Mass somewhere quite a few years ago, and I don't know, it was good. It was really good. I love when he ad-libbed at the end and just kind of went with stuff, and I like that. And I like when he kind of like when he screws up in a way, but because he has the puppet, it's perfect. It makes it better. Sometimes I think he does it on purpose because it just makes it so much better. So then the puppet's like, the hell's wrong with you? You're screwing up the freaking show,
It was funny. Like he did. Yeah, he had some. The new guy needs some work or whatever.
Yeah, his
Earl
Earl there, but at the end he had Peanut out last, and then they asked questions.
I'd never seen the character of Peanut before. That was
He's
funny.
he probably is the best. Like
He worked it up. Like at first it was
Yeah.
kind of annoying because he was loud, but to me what was amazing was how not only is he throwing his voice as a ventriloquist, but he's got different voices for these characters. So it takes I can only imagine how crazy his life must be going around figuring all that out, practicing.
been doing it since he was in school.
Since
It's
he
crazy.
said it was his first time was when he was in college. He was 19 with a puppet that he had made.
Yeah, professionally, yeah, but he was doing it as a kid when he was in elementary school. He started super young. He'd do it for friends and stuff, and then I think it was 86. I think was his first actual comedy show.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was almost he's old.
Yeah, he's 60 or 61,
He's close to it.
and
I thought he was 59 or something. Is he in
Yeah.
his 60s?
I think he was. You have to look it up real quick, and you had said he's the top.
He's number three
Number three,
behind
highest
Chris
paid comics.
Rock. Well, Seinfeld, Chris Rock, and then him is most money earned as a.
I find that so funny. Seinfeld was so long ago, and I just don't. Maybe it's because I'm not a huge Seinfeld, but there's so many people more funny than him. I don't know.
Well, his thing was he just pointed out the mundane, crazy double entendres, and
He probably still makes a fortune off of Seinfeld, though.
oh yeah, they all
So
do.
I'm sure that's part of the. And Chris Rock's done a lot of movies and stuff, so
Oh, see, he looks a little bit older in that picture. There, I could believe it, but from looking at him on that screen, and then
is that what it is?
it doesn't say. He's hiding his age. 62, so that
So
means
60,
he's
well,
61,
so he's 61.
or somewhere around there,
Yeah.
depending on when his birthday is. But yeah,
His wife's 18 years younger than him.
she's 43,
Good
a
for
little
him.
younger than me.
Yeah.
But I've seen him in movies before. I'd never really watched his comedy, but he was in Dinner for Schmucks. He was one of the schmucks at the table at the end. has like his wife as a puppet. So anyway, that was most of my knowledge of him, other than he was the puppet guy.
Yeah, he's funny. He's super funny.
Before I saw him in concert, and it was enjoyable. Like, it didn't seem like it was too over. You know what I mean? Like, before you knew it, the 2 hours was up or whatever. It went by pretty quick.
Yeah, it went really quick. It was like hot up there though.
It was hot.
I don't know what it is. Like, heights don't. I don't like heights, but like in that aspect, it's not a heights thing. It's just, I don't know. It makes me kind of feel like weird or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
You don't have any control. And,
maybe.
And that
like,
was a steep.
It's
that was steep at the top.
Yeah. So, anyways,
it's not like
I was like laughing so
lower
hard.
Level.
Right. The lower level was like normal. This is like whoa. So, dude, I was laughing so hard.
There were a couple of people that had to hold onto the handrail and take a break. Did you see them when they were walking up there?
I didn't. No.
They were a little bit.
All I know is me and you are definitely out of. Well, me and you are definitely out of shape. I mean, anyone can make that observation. However, when we went up the stairs, I was like, and then even Lydia was like, "Holy crap, these things are like."
Yeah, because
you get to the top, you're like, "Oh, it was only like, I don't know, you go up maybe 60 feet, maybe."
It wasn't, but it was a fast climb.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But it was so I just felt like I was gonna pass out at one point. I was laughing so hard, it was getting like hot. I was like, "Oh shit, dude!" He was ad-libbing. Basically, at the end of the show, he has cards, and you ask questions, and today you asked Peanut. And then one person's name was Anita Mayantale, and he read it. And I don't know if it was a total setup thing or if it was legit, someone put it in there, but obviously played it off like he didn't realize it.
Like he got punked?
That he got punked, yeah. And oh my God, it was hilarious. And he talked about basically, can you imagine being a ventriloquist and your dummy doesn't have a tongue? So he's like, and he went on and on and on about it, and it was good. It was really good. It was great. So thank you,
He said
Andrew,
he may
for
have to
giving us-
add that into his thing because he had all of us rolling, and he said he was ad-libbing because at one point he's like, "Oh, I kind of."
I believe it because I've
talked
never
myself
seen him.
into a corner, but then he talks his way back out of it, and then he said, "I may need to look at adding this because
That was
kind of funny."
God, that was so good. That was so good.
And it was the I Can't Get Canceled tour, so he was
Yep.
talking about all kinds of controversial stuff that we don't think necessarily is controversial, but
Yeah, he just and he just goes after like
you know what I mean? Because he's making fun of everything. Like,
Everything.
Some people are way too serious.
yeah,
To include myself sometimes, but I also love to laugh.
yeah. No, it was a good.
If it's
time.
good, clean humor, Timothy.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It was good. I appreciate it.
So then Saturday morning, I went to the Winter Carnival Parade, brought Adelina. That was, I've gone to many, many of them. That was like the longest parade they've ever had. It was good. I was like, oh, it's almost over, right? Fire trucks just went by. Usually the fire trucks would totally last. No, then a bunch of, Valley had a bunch of trucks, and then Goodrich Oil, which Goodrich usually, but Valley had more trucks than I've ever seen him have. Carroll Concrete had a bunch of trucks, and like a bunch of trucks. It was good. It was a really great time. We didn't do really any of the events or anything, but there was so much going on. The Common was full of people.
Well, I went and I did not see any maple cotton candy, so I was a little disappointed.
I thought there was some hanging up on a tent.
Maybe they had
Maybe that
sold
was
out
regular or
because
something.
I got there at 12:30.
Yeah, because when I was there for the parade, I saw stuff hanging, but maybe it sold or something. What was that?
I got Girl Scout cookies though, so I kept wandering through, and then I got me some Thin Mints and some Do-si-dos. Supporting the local Girl Scout troop.
Where are they?
Well, I have 2 packages, like a half package of Do-si-dos, and you know how they come in 2 sleeves. So there's a sleeve of Do-si-dos and a sleeve of Thin Mints in the car because I took them to the fireman's ball that we went to Friday night, just in case. Saturday night, because I didn't think there's going to be any food there.
You
And
could have
then
brought those.
I brought a 6-pack.
You drank a couple of them.
A couple of them, and then because of our conversation with Chief Wilmot last year after the cleanup day, I said, let me figure out what's going on with these Twisted Teas. Because we did have, somehow, we ended up with a 12-pack of Twisted Teas on the table. And so those were a little bit easier to drink because they're not carbonated.
Yeah, I tried it. They're half and half.
But it tastes like a Lipton tea with alcohol in it, but like not.
But see, you like tea.
Yeah, I like tea.
Like you like Southern sweet tea. I don't. So that's probably the bigger thing. Like I like 4C iced tea, but it's super sugary, right? It's not. So I guess if it was a super sugary one, then I maybe like it more. But yeah, I drank one. I was like, damn, you drank
Couple.
quite a few of them. Yeah. But it was fun. That was awesome.
Yeah, I finally danced on my way out a little bit. After the Halloween dance 2 years ago when Nikki shunned me for my patented nipple snap that I like to do, not going to unleash my dance moves on my wife anymore because apparently she does not approve of them.
Yeah, we tried to get you guys to dance. Man, just couldn't do it.
Nikki is a good dancer. I, on the other hand, not so much. I like staying in one place. I'm like the Snoopy guy. But I snap to the beat of the music, and that's loosely stated when I say to the beat of the music. I feel my own beat.
I have no rhythm either.
Yeah, I'm horrible. I have no musical talent.
Congratulations to...
But that was at the Croydon Fire Department that we went to on Saturday night.
Yeah, that was fun. So 2023 Newport Winter Carnival Queen was Jessica McGuire. Here she is with a crown, and here's all the queens. So they all did a good job. I guess the girl here on the left, her dad's Ukrainian or something, so she sang a song in
Ukrainian?
Is that? Yeah. And then
Russian, Ukrainian, probably Ukrainian.
I think Ukrainian. I don't know. Anyways, congratulations to all the girls who did a great job. Andrea went to this while we were at the Jeff Dunham show, and so it was good. I miss the days of, it used to be like 14, 16 girls that tried out for this, but I will say that this is, there was 6 this year. They had 1 year, it was only like 3. It was really low number, so maybe this can come back, because it used to be a 2-day event. It was big, and but shout out to those girls that get up there and do something in front of people. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy at all. So, trying to think anything else real local I want to talk about.
Went out and ate at Breaking Bread out off the golf course.
Yeah? How was it?
Before we went out to the Common on Saturday morning.
I'm so surprised you. You don't usually go out.
It was funny because we got there, I don't know, 12-ish, right? Because the log splitting started at 12:30. Anyway, there were no cars in the parking lot, and I have this weird thing to where I have to know exactly what I'm getting into, and I've never even been inside the golf course there. And so Nikki's like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm going to call and see if they're open. It says that they are, but there's no cars here, and I don't want to walk up there and then have to talk to somebody and... And anyway, so Nikki got out of the car, walked in there, called me because he never answered his phone that was on the website. And so we go in there, and then the chef made fun of me. He's like, oh, sent your wife in here. I'm like, well, I have a bit of social anxiety. But anyway, it wasn't good fun, but it was really good. I had a spicy fried chicken on a waffle.
Nice.
And he was an executive chef down in South Carolina. So he would, that's where Zeta was born. And so, not that had anything to do with it, but it was interesting that he worked down in Columbia, but he would put on dinners for people where he would serve food that you can't really get in South Carolina, so more like exotic. But the presentation of the food was amazing, and it tasted really well. I really good. I loved it. I love my food. Nikki, I can't remember what she got, but she liked hers. Oh, nice. She got a smash burger.
Okay, that's right. All right, yeah. Nice.
It was really good. So anyway, it's out there at the golf course. I think they only have a Facebook page, but Crazy Jean from Dad's, it's her son, and it's named Breaking Bread, based off of Jesus breaking bread with his disciples. So anyway. Yeah,
and he's the one that had the food truck for a little bit.
Yeah, nice restaurant.
And then he...
nice atmosphere. It's on the golf course.
Yeah. No, when I heard that was going on there, I was like, great. And then the golf course was sold to a group of local people.
Like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
From, not all from Newport.
Right, not all, but
some were like from New London.
Yeah. So good. I mean, hopefully it will take off. And my mom used to work there years back and worked in the. She's the one that you would check in with and get a cart and all that stuff, and then she answered the phones and all that kind of stuff. So it used to be a pretty popular place. So maybe we can get it going again.
When Nikki and I first got married, because I loved golf, that's I was really good at it when I was younger. So she was learning so we could do something together. And she never picked it back up because we ended up moving. We found out she was pregnant. And so after being in there, I was like, Nikki, we really should get you back on the golf course because there's money that you can win in these golf tournaments. Because, Nikki's pretty athletic. And even though she only made it from like pitch and wedge to 7-iron, like she was hitting that 7-iron like Happy Gilmore. Or no, yeah.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore.
No, Tin Cup. It was on Tin Cup where Don Johnson and Tin Cup are arguing, and Tin Cup like breaks every club in his bag except for, or I guess it's been a while since I watched that movie, but anyway, he breaks every club in his bag in a tournament except for a 7-iron, and he plays it out and he wins it with a 7-iron. It's basically what Nikki looked like with that 7-iron. But that was also 20 years ago now, so we will see. But it kind of like just being in the golf course kind of got my golf juices flowing again because I enjoy it. It's good exercise. And if Nikki and I can do something besides me beating her in Scrabble, I hope she watches this.
She won't. You're safe.
Nah, she watches our show.
They used to really watch our show. Now it's like,
No, she does. She watches it. She just hasn't commented to you because...
See that, Nikki? He can beat you at anything, I heard.
Basically.
See?
Except for swimming. She's a fish. I'm a rock. She'll have to save my life if there's ever a water incident that we're involved in. So I'll sink to the bottom.
You might want to say your goodbyes now because I
You don't think she'd pull me out of the water? She would.
She would, but I bet she'd wait a few minutes. She would hesitate. I mean, she'd save you, but... And then she'd come get you pissed off, like...
I don't know. Hey, man, I'm getting so hot now. Do I have, like, sweat pouring down my face?
No. Yeah, this makes up for the day you made me freeze.
Hey, I'd rather be hot than cold, so I'll stop complaining.
Yeah, Texas boy, you should be like, hey, this is like home.
It kind of is. But I also have a thermal shirt on. Under my T-shirt, I was prepared for the winter. Surprised you don't have shorts on because it's so sunny and 40 degrees out.
It could happen later this week. So anyways, yeah, then you guys came over yesterday for the Super Bowl.
Watch the first half of it.
Yeah, you guys watched the first half. I watched the whole thing, but I told Andrew after, I'm like, would you be mad if I lost money on the Super Bowl? And I try and like play it up like I lost all this money. And I was like, no. She's like, it is what it is. Because I never bet on the Super Bowl before. I bet $5. And I bet $5 with my sister-in-law who texted me. He's like, you want to bet on the score? And I'm like, hell no, I don't bet on the score. I don't know what the freaking score is going to be and how that works. I'm like, I'll bet the Eagles win. And I knew she was going to bet the Chiefs would win. I lost. It was a good game, though. It was a little bit of controversy as far as, like, one call. But then actually the Eagles players, like, dude, I grabbed them. It was legit. So the two things I want to talk about on the show today about it. One thing is they separated it out enough that I almost could be like, all right, it's not as bad, but say like they did what supposedly is called the Black National Anthem, which pisses me off because the National Anthem has no color. It's the United States of America National Anthem for the people in the United States of America. thus made up of many different ethnicities, colors, religions, whatever. So one thing, sorry, I gotta find stuff because there we go. Look at that, come right up. So there's a tweet from Terrence Williams. He says, "I'll never stand for a black national anthem. I wouldn't stand for a brown or white national anthem. If you have to put race in front of the anthem, then you're a racist. I will only stand for America's one and only national anthem. We are all Americans." And
to me, it just seems like it's just something to divide us. Like,
I just feel like that's what they keep trying to do constantly.
Yeah, like
Constantly trying to divide us. Like,
and Terrence Williams is a black man.
yeah. So
Just, if y'all can't see his face on there, I mean, he's I've read he used to be kind of popular.
yeah, he has a pancake mix that he does now. When they canceled Aunt Jemima, he started a pancake company.
So I've heard of him before. So I think he's out of New York.
I think so. Yeah. So that's like, whatever.
It's just one of those things.
Like I said, the one thing I'll say though, it wasn't like.
I wonder how the military. Do you think the military plays two different national anthems?
I would hope not.
Did Congress vote that national anthem in?
No. This is just a media.
Yeah, so it's just a media-driven to try
NFL.
to divide us.
Yeah.
So that if you don't stand, then you're immediately a racist and you don't care about black people. Whereas the stance is, why are we adding a second national anthem? What's wrong with the first one? How is it not representative of America as it is today?
Yeah. Ignorance.
We're really stretching it on the land of the free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like our freedoms are. They're convincing people that their freedoms are not God-given, that they're privileges given to you by the government. That's
Exactly.
what the whole lockdown was, and
Right.
we need everybody to remind themselves of the national anthem, which is "Home of the Free,"
Because of the
land
brave.
of the free and home of the brave, man.
Yeah.
All of us. It doesn't matter where we come from, what way of life. At the end of the day, it's our country, and warts and all, we got to defend it and try to protect it and try to get it back to what it was, which is we all have God-given rights that no man or woman or bureaucrat can take away. They're not privileges. It's your right, given to you by God, not by Joe Biden, not by the United States government. All these people can say whatever they want, but everybody needs to remember that our Constitution protects rights, not privileges. The rights.
Right.
And we have a couple more stories that will show you how that's being challenged day in and day out by the same people that I talk about all the time. Like, how do they go home and feel good about themselves?
Yeah, it's.
You don't serve a governor, you don't serve a president, you serve a constitution, you serve a set of ideals and values, not people.
We'll get to that in a second. All right. I don't think I'm the only one that made this observation, okay? But I made the observation in front of you guys before anyone on social media made this observation, okay? So I just find it bizarre and ironic. I don't know what words to use. Here's a picture of Rihanna during the halftime show, which it wasn't horrible and it wasn't sex-filled and all that stuff. I mean, she did a few little things, but not, we've seen, like,
Well, I commented, we're like, that's Michael Jackson's move, but I thought,
Anyway, so if you look, she's wearing the red, and they're all in this white. And this, dawned on me, wait a minute. So here's a picture. I can't wait for my freaking Google and all that.
This will end the show right here, just
Probably.
putting that picture up.
Yeah. So here's a picture of...
You're just making a comparison.
Yeah, I'm making a comparison of the two. So here's the KKK, and then the red, sort of like the Supreme Leader kind of thing. It just and the only reason I know this, so if anyone wants to be like, oh, he's racist, you can shove that up your ass because I'm not racist, is in the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which is a pretty cool movie.
My mom and dad like that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. Like it's a
I've
good
never
movie.
watched it, and I own it
They like
digitally anyway.
come into a Klan meeting, which is all the town folk and whatever, are the leaders or like the racists and stuff. And this is what like I'm like, because the red is what obviously everyone knows the KKK is white, but the red were like the leaders or whatever. And yeah, it just made me think of this, which symbolism, right?
Yeah, but I don't know why. Like, to me, though, like, because Nikki had said it to me, too. She's like, does this remind you of the KKK? Like, she had whispered that to me, like, when we were watching it. And the only reason I know that is because they make fun of when Fletch lives. And in Knoxville, when I lived in Knoxville, there was an active thing, and so it would be on the news.
Really?
Yeah, so you would see them out protesting, like actually dressed like this. And this was in 2000 to 2001 to 2002, somewhere in there. Like, so this is within this century, millennia, only a few decades ago. But yeah, so that's how Nikki was like this, because she had said it, and then like in this ear, and then like a couple minutes later, you're like, this is weird. It just seemed weird. I saw a picture of Rihanna walking in to the Super Bowl, I think, and she had an upside-down cross on her shirt, and it read "Mind Control" or "Minds Control," something like that. The upside-down cross is
Oh yeah. So if any
blasphemy towards the cross is the way that, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, if any of these.
I mean, they're always trying to get controversial stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I get that, but at a certain point, it's like we talked about on many different shows, their symbolism was weird. I didn't really see that much other than it was just weird. The color choices was contrasting. And
yeah, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't like the freaking Grammys or any of that crap.
Yeah.
But it was, I just saw that and thought it was funny. And if anyone wants to, message in or run their mouths, be like, yeah, well, most people that would be offended by what I just talked about would be liberals and Democrats. You are the KKK. You founded the KKK. So.
In the past, yeah.
In the past. So, anyways. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I don't really care who won. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care.
Bread and circuses to keep you...
Yes. Keep you
distracted. I mean, they got so much going on to distract us.
Yeah. Distract you from the fact that Epstein didn't kill himself.
Epstein client list.
Yeah. Which is supposedly going to come out, they said soon.
I saw that.
Yeah. Probably altered it. They had spent a lot of time taking off all the names that you would know. And that's
they just left in all the college professors.
Yeah. Throwaways.
Because allegedly there were a lot of college professors that went out there too, because he was all into the almost science fiction type stuff, allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's allegedly. I mean, you can go out there and read how the things that he said and wanted to research and was interested in.
Yeah, you didn't even have to use allegedly when it comes to Epstein because,
I don't know, man. Everything to me comes across as being fake these days. There's not very many...
It's
realist. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is almost like planned, and I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, the whole if you look at least for me, if you look at the last say 2 years, 2 or 3 years of my life, and then you look at the prior, 36 years, the weird, crazy. It's all kind of unraveling. It's happened in the last 3 years, like at a rapid rate. Like we shot down a spy balloon supposedly, right? And now we're shooting down supposedly UFOs, whatever.
I don't know. If you watch their videos from the 90s all the way up until a few weeks ago, these things were moving at such rapid paces and everything else. That you know what I mean? That they were telling us were UFOs.
Right. We're at what, 4?
That they've shot down. Now we can shoot them down. That's probably. I don't know. To me, it's all distractions to keep you from focusing on the other 9 stories that are going on.
Well,
that's just on the national level.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Well, speaking of story that is going on that I knew nothing about until you mentioned it, which usually I'm pretty good with some of these like big things, and this I think would be a really, really, really big thing, but apparently it's not a big thing. So, yeah, there was a train derailment in Ohio, which doesn't sound bad. It happens occasionally, right? But you want to get into that and tell us about.
Well, the train that derailed had 5 cars, I think it was, full of vinyl chloride, and that's what they make like PVC pipe out of, wire coating, like the plastic coating on the wires. And to me, that was really interesting because I started looking up what is vinyl chloride and how, because I saw, because you never know, it's hard to discern sometimes if you're getting somebody trying to just mess with people, but like you can see videos from the local area, like you can find them out there where it's like weird stuff. There's fish dying in the rivers, there's chickens allegedly dying, dogs allegedly dying, but and they evacuated like a 30-mile, like they evacuated that town, and then they were given warnings out to 30 miles. And the thing that shocked me the most, though, is, and so I looked up the vinyl chloride, and I found a sheet from New Jersey that kind of like lays it all out, that makes it pretty clear. And I just wanted to read this one part as soon as I find it. I have like 19,000 things open on my phone. I apologize. I thought I had it right here for me to open, and it's not there.
So there's a tweet from DC Drano, who I don't really know who that is.
He's a reporter. That's his handle. Was it somebody O'Hadley or something like that?
All right, so this is not a single story on.
But he used to work for like the Blaze or Breitbart or somebody. So like you know what I mean? Like DC Drano is his
right. Trying to drain a
handle.
swamp is what I'd be thinking, right?
Right.
Like, so not a single story on the CNN's homepage. Not a mention on Drudge. Journalists are getting arrested for investigating the Ohio train explosion, and animals are dropping dead miles away. What the hell is going on in Ohio, and why is the media not talking about it?
So this is what this data sheet from New Jersey Department of Health Transportation says. Vinyl chloride is a carcinogen in humans. There may be no safe level of exposure to a carcinogen, so all contact should be reduced to the lowest possible level.
Carcinogens are cancer-causing, correct?
Right.
And so this thing wrecked, and then they decided to do a controlled burn to burn it all off. Is that right?
Yeah, so they decided to blow it up themselves because the heat's supposed to help with it, right?
No, this was also a gas that they used during World War One.
That I didn't read in here, but
I saw that. There's a clip we'll play after we talk about it. There's like a news clip from Ohio, and basically said that gas is what they used in World War One. So our government just released, in order to clean it up, the gas they used in World War
well,
One.
what's interesting is like you would think that the Department of Transportation would be front and center talking about this, because what are the effects on all of us that are east of it?
I know this is like
Because you and I can read this, right? So, like, just like you had that clip where the guy was like, "I'm a firefighter," right? So he's a firefighter. He's just been like, "Oh, I'm following the sheet that says I need to blow it up because the best thing to do is to burn it at high temperatures or whatever, and not to mess around because the tanks could explode because it is a flammable substance." And so, just like him, like I'm reading through this, and it doesn't sound good. Like that one sentence I read that, like. Because, they let everybody go back in, and then you can, like I said, you can find random citizens kind of like us posting, like, what the heck is going on? With their cars, with, like, stuff falling out of the sky, like, almost like plastic. And you got the Ohio River Basin coming out of that area, and you have reports of alleged fish dying. So how far is that going to spread out throughout the Ohio River Valley? With all that farmland, what are the repercussions for farmers, for consumers of said goods? Like, there's a lot of information that we need as that could have far-reaching effects.
And this happened on the 3rd?
About over a week ago.
Yeah. So and we're just talking about now because I just heard about it today because you saw it.
Well, there was a reporter that was arrested.
Yeah, you were saying something to me earlier.
So
about
the
that,
governor was given an update after they had blown up, and then allegedly it was supposed to start at 3, and then it didn't start till 5, and everybody knows nightly news is at 5. And according to the governor, DeWine, it's common for reporters to stand in the back when he's giving a conference to still go live. Like, he doesn't have an issue with that. But apparently the National Guard Adjutant General, 2-star general, had an issue with how loud he was reporting. And there's video of it. To me, it just goes back to you people, like this Adjutant General, like, say, hey, man, like, keep it down. But you're not in charge of anything. Like, you can't, like, you can say, hey, you're being loud, can you keep it down? But to arrest a guy and start putting your hands on him, and to me, it just sounds like, for me reading it from my experience in the military, this is a guy that wanted to keep it quiet for his boss, wanted to be able to hear and listen. And in the military, if someone says, hey, keep it down, and they're a 2-star, everybody keeps it down. And this reporter probably was like, whatever, dude. Like, we do this all the time, allegedly, according to the governor. And then he got arrested for it. And so that's probably why, like, maybe you saw a reporter getting arrested and not the actual coverage of the massive amounts of pollutants that have been released into to the air, which, there's so many things because you have all these climate people on one hand wanting to get rid of all kinds of stuff. And then now we have this is a bad disaster. Like, this is not.
And keep in mind
This is not like there's a fire burning and it's going to release some carbon and
but
CO2.
Think of the wildfires a few years ago we had that you actually could see the haze here and actually smell it, and that's 3,000 miles away. Ohio, which then this is on the Ohio-Pennsylvania line, which so it's like
it's
close
50
to
miles northeast of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's
northwest.
It's like a 12-hour drive or whatever. Like, so.
Yeah, so do I need to go put a tarp down over my garden area?
Yeah, like
is it going to affect our food, like, as it falls and releases? Because if you read the data sheet on it, this is not a chemical to be taken lightly. And there were other chemicals on the train, too. Like, this is just the one that was in 5 cars.
Now, was this
so there were 2 other cars. I think it said 7.
Now, was this right next to the river it happened, or?
I don't know how close it was to the river. That's a good question.
I wonder what caused it to derail it, because it was effed.
I went on with the Tor browser and was looking around, and I don't know. Like, I just need to get more information because I don't know the source to trust, but there's video that you can watch of it, I guess, where there were like sparks coming underneath the train. And then when I was also looking it up, the 3 top owners of the rail company where that was responsible for this are BlackRock, J.P. Morgan, and Vanguard. BlackRock is always, like, BlackRock owns everything.
Interesting.
BlackRock does not own everything. They own a lot. That was a little hyperbole there, in case I'm getting fact-checked.
Yeah.
Their hands and Vanguards are in a lot of things that you wouldn't even realize that they're the controlling partner or shareholders. It's ripe for conspiracies, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is how is this going to affect farmland, the rivers, the Ohio River Basin?
And why is it not national big news? Like,
why isn't Department of Transportation all on top of this? The EPA should be briefing and letting us all know. You know what I mean? Like, here's the one time where, okay, we have an environmental protection agency, so what's going on in the environment? Instead, they'll come over here and want to know why I'm losing water out of my pond because it went down 2 feet this year because somehow they're monitoring that, but they can't brief us on this that could have far-reaching impacts across farming, the consumers, us in general, just breathing in the air. If we get rained on, is it going to get on our skin? Do we need to get looked at? Like, at what point does it dissipate enough to where it's not going to affect the rest of the country or surrounding areas?
So yeah, let's play this video. This is just one of the ones I found. There's tons of them if you look. This one was just kind of shorter and kind of got to the point because some of them were, I don't care what this, whatever. But check this
That
out.
smoldering toxic scene in Ohio. Authorities there say the danger from that trail derailment, I should say near the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, it's far from over. And there's no timeline for when it will be safe for residents to return home. CBS's Roxana Saberi is there.
Tonight there is fear and frustration for thousands who remain blocked from their homes, not knowing when it will be safe to return.
We're not hearing anything. And that's part of the confusion. There hasn't been good lines of communication.
4 days after a train carrying dangerous chemicals derailed, releasing toxic fumes near the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, officials say they continue to monitor the air and water in the 1 by 2 mile evacuation zone. But in a tense afternoon briefing, they offered few details about the possible dangers that remain.
I want nothing more than to get my residents back home. I'm not an expert, subject matter expert on that. I'm a fireman. I put fires out. All right? No, we're done with questions. Thank you very much.
This afternoon, crews were carefully removing the damaged cars. 1 day after authorities carried out a controlled explosion of some cars containing vinyl chloride, a hazardous carcinogen used to produce plastic pipes. But that explosion was expected to release hydrogen chloride and phosgene, a gas used as a weapon in World War I. Jamie Koza worries she and her family won't be able to live in East Palestine anymore for their own safety.
And I think I owe that to my daughter, no matter how much I want to stay.
What makes it the hardest?
My daughter. It's all the kids in town. It's, thinking about their future.
This church behind me is open to help evacuees like Jamie. Schools and businesses in East Palestine remain closed, and there continue to be checkpoints coming in and out of the area.
Yeah, so it's just weird. And the lady in the video is like, I don't think I'm about to live here anymore. Of course, the news pro was like, what makes you so sad about that? She's going to have to move? Hello? She lives here?
Yeah, her life investments and friends, family.
It's not a job. She lives here. I just find it odd that it was 10 days ago from what I saw. It was the 3rd, I think it happened. The video, I think, here was the 8th. And then...
Well, I don't think a lot of people understand exactly how bad that chemical is. After reading that, I want nothing to do with it.
And they burnt it up instead of,
And then they make PVC pipe out of it, so does any of that leach out over the time into us?
Maybe I'll be safe, because I've touched a lot of PVC pipe in my time, but...
I'm sure, once it's not in a gas form. Yeah. But it's still...
Wonder where it was headed to. And now
I think it was headed to Pittsburgh from Indiana.
Now there'll be a...
or Illinois, something like that. But it was heading...
New pipe shortage.
It was heading east to Pennsylvania, somewhere in Pennsylvania.
It's just weird, and you couldn't,
Well, just the environmental impact should be addressed so that we're not sitting here speculating. I'd rather get briefed by them and then be able to fact check what they're saying and, based off of whatever they say, then that gives you some keywords, and it's just...
All I know is
because I'm not a chemist, so I don't really know. I just read what I'm reading on that is it's bad. Probably like that firefighter was like, it's just bad.
All I know is we're not supposed to take planes and cars and stuff. We're for carbon footprint, and they want us to basically walk everywhere because that's what's best for the environment, and that's what we should do, right? And then the government just lit this on fire.
Yeah,
I don't think we could put that much chemicals into the air.
Well, no, but that's the other part is who's addressing this? This is a bad pollutant that we just released into the air.
Because they don't really ever give a crap when some corporation does something like this. Look at the oil spills.
Yeah, they'll come and
that was what it was. They're the ones you should be putting the freaking hammer on, not you. You spilled some oil in your backyard. Your tractor's got a little leak. Here's a fine for that.
Exactly.
Oh, you just dumped this chemical and it's all burnt up in the atmosphere and it's going to God knows do what. Yeah. I'll give you a warning on that one. Here's a fine for $1,000. Don't do that again.
I don't know, but it's worth looking into, and for all of us to kind of pay attention as we, especially those of us that like to garden, our water supplies. Like, it might dissipate before it gets over the mountains in New York, Vermont, whatever. But then again, maybe it doesn't. It looks like it should, but again, I'm not a chemist, so I don't really know.
Just seems like the last option.
But it's a bad chemical.
Would be to burn it. So taking a liquid and making it a gas.
Well, I think it was like pressurized liquid gas. Was that what they call it?
I don't know.
When they put it under pressure, then the gas becomes liquid. So I think it was pressurized, which makes it turn into a liquid. And then they wanted to control it, and I think burning it is how it says that you got to get rid of it. Like, you got to collect it up in sand, any that spills out. It's just, it gives me caution for,
oopsies.
Acid rain was going to kill everybody in the 80s. And now we might actually get some type of negative rain, right? Like,
now it's legit.
Like, I don't want to speculate too much because it's chemicals that you and I have little experience dealing with. It's dispersion into the atmosphere. But it's dangerous and doesn't sound very good. My concern is does it get into the Ohio rivers, valley, and then start killing everything further downstream? Or poisoning it, and then people start developing cancers? Because, there's other words in there, too. It's not just a carcinogen. There's, like, other gens that it mentions in there, and it's like a bad chemical. It's like the worst chemical you can come into contact with. One of the worst. According to this New Jersey Department of Transportation data sheet, or OSHA, one of those. I guess I could tell you.
That was one of the things I remember learning on the fire department was hazardous waste stuff. It was
Hazardous substance fact sheet, right to know, from the New Jersey Health Department.
So the rule was if you put your thumb up and you can still see it, you're too close. It's true.
Everything, eye contact, skin contact, or inhalation requires you to go to a medical facility. It's not like wash it off and you'll be fine. It's like wash it and then get to a medical facility because it's that bad.
And it looked like a plume. Like it didn't even look normal when they burnt it.
It's reproductive, like, messes everything up. And men and women. Messes up your reproductive system. I think that's one of the gens. I didn't mention that earlier. It messes up your liver, reproductive system, gives you cancer. It's just bad all around. I think it's bad enough to warrant a briefing from the president or his staff.
Yeah. Maybe if he wasn't a Muppet.
Yeah, so it's a teratogen, which is a substance that causes birth defects by damaging the fetus. It's a carcinogen, and there was one other gen, mutagen, causes mutations in the genetic material in the body's cells. So it mutates you, it gives you cancer, and it harms your reproductive and fetuses. Like, there's nothing good about this chemical. That's why I'm concerned about it. It's not just, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully it dissipates and...
Let's do some foreshadowing, okay? Ready?
Low birth rate and
40 years
stuff from
40 years from now.
the Ohio River
Were you
Valley.
affected by the Ohio River Valley's controlled explosion in 2023? Well, here at Beard and Morris law firm, like the Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know.
Trust the government. They got you.
Yeah.
They got the smartest people in the bureaucracy that's going to take care of you and respect your rights and freedoms, your God-given rights. They don't look at them as permissions that they can authorize and take away from you.
No.
Everybody wonders why we fought against masking and shutting down and everything else. It's individual freedom in America.
Yeah, it's very much been forgotten about, apparently.
Yeah, everybody.
Really
Everybody thinks that
because they distract you with these.
Yeah.
Look at this TikTok video. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Well, we've talked about it. TikTok will destroy people's attention spans, and it will destroy society if people don't get them out of the kids' hands at such young ages.
And I mean, you got to take it
because
further
it's
than
rapid
that.
fire, man.
It's more than TikTok. It's
no. It's
just social media in
immediate
general.
gratification and the social or the psychological damage it's done through social media. It was hard when I got rid of it because I wanted to find out what somebody I went to high school with 30 years ago that I hadn't talked to in 32 years was up to, but you get over it. You get my sarcasm there. Like, I hadn't even talked to them, but yet I want to know what they're up to.
Yeah.
You have to break it. You got to realize that you'll see them at the reunion.
If you have one.
If you have one. Get caught up. You don't need to get caught up on all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wonder, too, like, how kids are nowadays. And, like, when we grew up, it was like, all right, for me or whatever, I guess, like, maybe I'll start a business. Like, I had hopes, dreams, and all that. And then we kind of, like, look at our kids and, like, where's that for you guys? Well, I guess if you were young and you were looking at everything going on in the world today, what kind of hopes and dreams would that give you?
To be a YouTube star?
Well, no,
to be
I
a
mean,
video game YouTuber?
But just in general, like...
I'm like the younger kids, though. There were a lot,
but
4 years ago that wanted to be YouTubers.
Yeah.
And
but they just, like... Nothing looks like it's going well. It's just all kind of crashing down, and what hope does it leave for... I look at it, like, especially my youngest daughter, and then, like, said Andrew's pregnant. Like, so, your two youngest daughters, like, kind of future do they have on the path we're on now? And, I mean, we do the show, but majority of people do nothing about anything that's happening that's going to change their lives, because people like you and me and other people just like us should be like, no, you're not taking my rights away, and I don't give a shit what kind of excuse you give me. You're going to be like, oh, well, it's for your own good. No, I'll decide what's for my own good.
Well, that's
Thank
what
you.
I tried to do.
Yeah.
That's what we tried to do. I mean, we were protesting.
I know.
Carrying signs. It doesn't do any good, I guess, to protest. Nobody stopped it. It didn't stop anything. I mean, eventually, I guess it did.
Like, so do you just not care unless it's
affects you
your
immediately?
kid that Epstein shot, sex trafficked, and all these people in Hollywood?
Well, it's like over in the UK, there are gangs that apparently entrap kids into slavery of that nature. Like that happens allegedly.
So they say,
they covered it, right? Didn't that guy Tommy Robinson or somebody get arrested for trying to cover the gang that was raping and trafficking these kids because they weren't white Britons, and so they didn't want everybody to know about it because they were immigrants that were doing it in the city?
That one spread them and all.
I might have the name wrong, but I'm pretty sure that happened about 3 or 4 years ago. The guy was trying to cover it and report on it, and then they arrested him because they didn't want that news getting out.
And do you realize 800,000 kids a year go missing? Now, granted, a good half of them are, like, missing. We see it on Facebook. Holy crap, have you seen this kid? They found him. Thank God. But let's think about the percentage of that huge number that weren't found.
Man, not even kids, too, like adults.
Yeah. But, once again, I mean, number one cause of death in the United States for under 45-year-olds is fentanyl. But we're like, can't do nothing about it, man. I mean,
well, no,
what are we gonna do about it?
We're gonna put
do
signs
nothing,
up
man.
on the subway, making sure that you're taking it nice and slow.
Buddy system, that way, if you're overdosing the fentanyl, that dude can help you out. Like, what the hell happened to our country?
It's
crush it.
Yeah, well,
Oh, we can't do that.
somebody
Bullshit.
in the government, the workers, need to realize that they're betraying the Constitution and their citizens, and they can fix it. But it takes courage. It takes not being afraid to lose your job. It takes not being afraid to lose what friends and family you may or may not have. It's hard to stand up and speak.
Yeah. Then every time you see someone do stand up and speak,
They're canceled.
they're canceled, or the government goes after them, like
Yeah.
Project Veritas, or
Well, yeah, that's not the government. That's the board of directors now all of a sudden have an issue with him right after he exposed that guy that worked for Pfizer. And
so I wonder who paid them.
I don't know. I guess we'll just keep wondering. But there's so much going on, and I have a feeling that most of our listeners or watchers see and know all this stuff. It's just you got to get through to one person at a time to let them realize that, like, your vote matters, your voice matters, your money and where you spend it matters. Like, stop giving money to organizations that clearly don't really respect you. Just kind of how you mentioned, like, Disney's losing. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to vote with your wallet.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And your time.
So, obviously, some of what we're doing, people are doing, is helping. I mean, we'll jump this. We'll do the happier, funnier kind of thing last. But, so, AT&T dropped Newsmax, which AT&T owns DirecTV. Luckily, I've got Xfinity now. And I don't even watch Newsmax. But the point is, it's a conservative leaning news organization, and we want to censor all that, right? Because we need to just show the one superior.
Well, it's like what in Ukraine, you got to get rid of all the parties that are against you.
Yes, so that's what's happening in our country. It's been happening for a while now. So I guess AT&T has now lost $10 billion in stock after dropping Newsmax, which I think
seems
that's
like
awesome.
a lot. Like,
that seems like a lot of money
for Newsmax, because I never really watched it. I know of it, but.
Right. And then Disney's cutting 7,000 jobs. They had an ad last night at the Super Bowl, and I was thinking, who cares?
Like, I feel bad for the people who are losing their jobs, but at the other hand, other end of the spectrum is, like, you're working for Disney and you see what they're saying and producing.
But let's
what I
not
mean?
feel too bad for the people losing their jobs, because there's so many jobs out there right now that they could easily work somewhere else in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you're a specialist in something.
No, I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I get it.
It stinks, kind of like that lady having to move from her house, but at the same time, like, if you bought into their whole, you need to be able to talk to kindergartners about your sexuality and theirs, like, what the hell's wrong with you, Disney? Like, why would you take a stand on that?
Losing one too. You thought you'd win on that stand somehow?
Like, you think, like, people want their kids talking about sexuality or the teacher's sexuality or anything else? No, they want them learning reading, writing, and arithmetic.
I mean, I guess a little hope is that the fact that
some civics,
AT&T's just lost all that money, Disney, like a lot of stuff that.
But see, I don't think it matters. Is because they'll all get bailed out because they're doing all this stuff on behest of government policies like ESG and.
But the only good
DEI,
thing I'd say is
it's
the fact that it's happening to them means that there's more than just
a few
so
there's
that are, like, I think
so there's hope.
A majority of the country is fed up with this. Majority of the country is fed up with illegals walking across the border with open invitation, and then, oh, here, you're struggling. Here's money. Here's phone. Here's
they've
this,
never
here's that.
contributed to the tax base, and then we have people
and
who
probably
have,
never will, because most likely,
they send that money back home.
And the other thing is, you know who
table.
hates illegal immigration more than anyone in this country? So when they're going to say, like, well, you're racist for thinking that, you know who hates the most? Immigrants that actually.
In your experience, the ones that came over here properly and spent the money and had to, like, have a.
They hate them the most
because you can't, if you do it legally, you have to be able to show that you're a productive member of society.
You have to, exactly.
That you're going to produce something that America needs from you.
Like, why do we want all the people from the world that didn't contribute in their country? We don't. We don't need them. If anything, you want the ones that actually do contribute in their countries.
Yeah, well, you want everybody to be able to, like at this point, with the way that technology and everything is, you want them to be able to stay in their country and then bring their country up and make it viable so that they have good lives in their country.
Well,
Like, I don't,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want them.
That's what Vice President Harris says we're going to do. We've got to go after the source, so we have to make their country better.
Well, no, so we don't have to do that.
Well, no, we do according
Those
to them.
fighting age young men need to go read, get educated, and figure out that they need to do it themselves. They need to go start a YouTube podcast type thing and tell all their friends about how they can make their country better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just find it interesting because if you're from a lot of Haitians coming across, if you don't know, Haiti's an island in the Caribbean, and it's a long-ass boat ride to Mexico and then come up. And if you're poor and you have no money and you have this and that, whatever, I mean, there's poor people who can't leave a city and get out of that, but you left a whole country that was surrounded by water. It doesn't add up.
And then walked thousands of miles with clean clothes and weigh 280 pounds, some of them.
Yeah. Wonder how that happens.
Cell phones.
Yeah. Charged them somewhere, too.
Yeah.
Wonder how that happens.
Dude, I'm telling you, we live in a clown world. Like, this. The older generation failed whenever Kennedy, this is my take on it, my own Steve's personal opinion. When Kennedy was assassinated, when they allowed the government to lock the data up on it for 60 years, you should have realized the government's telling on itself and the government needs to go, that the government was the issue or was involved, knew about it, let it go. Like, why else would you hide something for 70 years? You only hide things that
are going
to get you in trouble.
Why would you hide the contents of a vaccination for 75 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Because all those rich assholes that made money at Pfizer and Moderna will be dead by then, and you can't take their money then, right?
Well, I mean, that may not be the only reason, right? Like, okay, they'll tell you something because you'll get fact-checked by somebody if they're watching. But at the end of the day, yeah, if they're hiding it from you, there's a reason that they're hiding it from you because they know that's going to make you mad, that they messed something up, and they need to be held accountable for it.
Yeah.
Which we talk about all the time, hold people to account.
Yep, we do. And we tell our kids this, and we expect this from people, and the people that aren't held to account seem to be at the highest places. Interesting. Like, if one of our kids was, like, caught with prostitutes and smoking crack cocaine, probably get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
If you're the president of the United States' son, you get money from China and Ukraine and sit on boards and
with a bio lab that you're invested in. And
so, hey, little Johnny, you should work really hard and stuff in life. And he's like, all right, Hunter Biden's laptop, or Hunter Biden's son, Hunter Biden, the president's son.
He hasn't lived an honorable life, according to his laptop. You can see the laptop, Marco Polo. They even have books now I think you can order where if you don't want to look at it digitally, you can buy a book with everything printed up on it.
How does this happen? How the hell is this dude not in a maximum security prison with his dad?
Because there's a two-tiered system. It goes all the way back to the founding when they said there are only certain educated people can be in charge because we're so much smarter than the dumb people. Because most average people are too ignorant to understand statecraft and everything else, which that's what got us here. So they're a separate class of people. So they have different rules than you and I do because they're smarter and better than us. We're just the low level, put the mask on, stand there and serve me while I don't have to wear a mask. You can see pictures of it throughout the entire time where
we showed them. Celebrities
and politicians don't have a mask on, but then make anybody else that's not equal to them have a mask on.
Yeah, like you kind of.
So the workers, the students, whoever, except for their buddies. They don't have to do it.
Big birthday bash on Martha's Vineyard for the ex-president, you know.
Yeah. Double standard. We're not smart enough, Tim.
If it wasn't for double standards.
You probably should go look up and see what Hunter said and start following his advice.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you look at...
he's the smartest man that the president's ever met.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he remained smart while he was on, using drugs. So apparently drug usage doesn't make you dumb.
Corner.
It doesn't impact your ability to make decisions or anything else. It doesn't impact your ability to buy a weapon because the president's son can do it, so anybody can go out and buy a weapon.
Yeah.
Those laws are really just there for like the people who want to admit to them. And
that's true. Because he lied on his gun application, which is a felony, but nothing happened there.
It was just an accident. So for him, we'll take care of that accident. It was just an overlook. We still would have given him the weapon. I mean, that's the smartest guy that Joe Biden's ever met. Which is amazing, because wasn't Joe Biden like number one at his law class until he got corrected on that?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was number one, but didn't he like lie and say he was like at the top and he was...
Yeah, he said he was the top.
The bottom.
The dude has lied about so much. Everything.
Like
everything Joe Biden related is a lie. Everything. Yeah, he that dude, including the State of the Union. Everything. Can you imagine you lie, cheat, and steal your way to the presidency? It used to be like, I remember when I was a kid, like, kids would say, like, I want to be president of the United States because it was such a huge, honorable thing, right? And then it's like, really? And this is the president.
Yeah, well, Carter, Ford, George W., they didn't really help because they're not the brightest.
Yeah.
And then Obama lied about everything and then was caught and then would give a good speech with a voice that rised and fell and get you off,
He was great at speeches.
He was a good orator.
He was, yeah.
He's a good, he can talk well.
Very much. If you could have just somehow put that into Trump, you would have been lights out, but...
Yeah, but I always tell you I don't trust the whole Trump thing 100%. But
no, because he's still in that clique of the top of the top.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So is this all just a ploy? Are they all... Because everybody loved him until he ran for president. Then all of a sudden they just flipped on him.
Yes, all the people in power.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was
to
loved.
me, he was loved. They wrote rap songs about him. Everybody said
Friends loved him. Oprah loved him. All those people loved him until he became president.
Right. So I wonder how much of that is real and how much of it was like, all right, so I start hating Trump. Because everything seems to be like, I don't know, not scripted, but scripted.
Yeah. I don't know.
But he also helped open up people's eyes that would listen to what he was saying, even though it was in, terms that you're not accustomed to a president speaking. But if you looked past that and looked at the message and then went and researched what he was talking about versus how he was saying it, then you would find out a lot of stuff. Like
you know what?
He put everything out there in the open. That's what Trump did. So everybody's like, oh, whatever. And he's like, yeah, these are your tax laws. So I pay as little taxes as possible, just like you should. Yeah. There's all these loopholes. Get rid of the loopholes, and I won't get my taxes lowered this much. But these are your laws. I'm just using the laws that you put on the books. And so that's what makes him mad, is because now he's exposing that he's not cheating on his taxes. He has a litany of lawyers that understand every little loophole and uses them to his advantage that you and I can't afford.
But
so to me, that's why, it seems kind of scripted, but then also he put things out there that they probably didn't want the secrets out. The secret's out. The tax code is fraught with all kinds of stuff that favor big business. Look at here in town. Oh, yeah, build 70 apartments or whatever that we're not really prepared to handle. And we'll get rid of your taxes for 3 years. So not only are we going to put this burden on us, but then we're not going to have any financial backing to help us deal with this burden. Good call.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a plan, but I haven't seen. Is there like an economic development plan that includes
I'll say this.
Apartments and creating jobs in Newport, or is it just let's try to get somebody to build something here so we can bring in some money?
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Or is it a plan?
I've seen this song and dance before, and the people at the town level don't give a shit what's happening at the school level. And so there was no like, hey, this is going to benefit the school. No, this is, hey, this will benefit us somehow.
Yeah, because you would think that like before they would
But putting all these kids in the school.
build that, they would send a note to either the chairperson or the superintendent or both.
No, it doesn't work that way.
And say, hey, we're looking at doing this. Can you get a time so we can figure out and look at it from all sides to see?
I mean, your own town, like our own town is so effed up that you talk about the federal government, like it's the same thing. It is just.
Yeah, well, it's
we really should
from
get
the
into
top
this
down.
more. Really should get into this more. But one thing I want to say before I forget is, it's sad too, but I've just come to realize that Americans in general would rather be lied to in a nice way than told the truth in a rude way. Because Trump would tell the truth on a lot of things, and he's such an asshole because of the way he said it. And I get it, I do 100%. Like I said, if he could have spoke like Obama, this dude would be like miles ahead. But he spoke like a New York realtor and developer, and then at the same time, the asshat in the presidency right now, one of Jeff Dunn's freaking puppets. He just constantly lies to you. We're going to tax the rich. I'm like, dude, you represent every one of them.
Right.
You're China's little puppet boy, first of all. Like, so we're going to tax the like, everyone wants to hear that. Like, they just tell you things you want to hear. The the Republicans are going to get rid of Social Security. Oh, my God. No, they're not. First of all, if you ran it yourself, you'd be doing better because the government's screwing you the amount of money you've put into it.
Well, yeah, they borrow against it all the time.
Yeah. We've heard this for how long, man?
Since 1994, when I got to college, one of my first, or maybe 95, when I took my first social studies class, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they've been talking about it, running out of money since then. Like it's supposed to.
I remember when I was at school. Oh, let's go. We're running out of it. I also heard the polar ice caps are melting.
Yeah, I heard about acid rain, polar ice caps melting, the hole in the ozone layer.
Ozone was a huge thing. I remember that.
Now we got global warming, global cooling. Now just climate change, which the climate changes.
Right, and because of climate change, you can't. Like, how do you debate that, right?
Because the climate is going to change. It might warm up a degree a year, but does that have anything to do with us?
Right. I mean, I'm
Maybe,
sure to some degree, of course.
Right,
but I'm not going to not do anything anymore because the assholes above us are like, yeah, I'm going to fly over the world in my private jet. I'm going to take rides in outer space.
Yeah.
That, like they said, puts in more pollution into the air than like it's insane.
Yeah, you'd have to drive a car for like 5 years. Or...
something crazy. But me and you should
get rid of your
cars.
gas stove.
Yes,
because you're going to kill everybody. All of a sudden, that became a talking point. On like one day, they sent out an email, and everybody that was on that email list started regurgitating that talking point about gas stoves.
Yeah,
it's all fake. It's all just to get us fired up. That's why sometimes I do get fired up, but at the end of the day, like they're not going to succeed. They have too many distractions going on right now that something's going to implode. The truth will come out about the UFOs. They can't hide the truth when they got so many different things going on. Like the truth will get exposed. I fully believe that. It may not be this week, next month, or next year, but eventually every lie finds a way to the surface.
Eventually, yeah.
But I mean, the difference is we might be able to spot the lie because we're looking for it, whereas some people still have like a trust because like you want to be able to trust that the government, because you let go of that and you're like, I got people that this is what they do day in and day out. They'll make sure that nothing's going to happen to me. But then what you don't realize is you get some bad apples in there making those decisions. Then some nepotism. They'll start hiring in their own little circle of friends and group, and then you don't get any outside opinion or debate or discussion. And then that's when you end up with something bad. Just like you don't want a board of any kind or a political body all made up of one party, because then there is no debate and discussion, especially the way that the parties are ran in the U.S., because most of them just vote down party lines. Again, it takes a lot to stand up and be like, I know you gave me a lot of money, but I'm out, because then they're gonna force you out. If they have dirt on you, they might release that, or they're not going to support you on the next run.
This way I have to stand up and be like, try to cancel me all I want, do whatever the hell you want. It's not going to change. I'm not going to stop.
Right. Like, yeah. Like, I know me better than you do.
Yeah.
Like, so
Right.
judge me all you want. Like, I can judge you with your red and blue hair pretty accurately, I would suspect, too. Over a certain age. Like some kids are going to do it because kids think it's cool. But you know what I mean? Like a certain age and your hair is multicolored, and I know probably what you're going to say before you say it, depending on what I say to you. You know what I mean? Like, I would just do it for fun, just to prove that I can predict what they're going to say to me on any litany of topics. And then they might be able to say, oh, here's a guy with a beard. I bet I can prove what he's going to say. Yeah, you can. I love America. I love freedom. Leave me alone. Stop telling me what to do.
That makes you a bad person nowadays. Isn't that funny?
Nah, it makes you a bad person to the propagandists. Like, how many people do you see walk around with blue and red hair? There's enough, but it's not. Like, to me, those are the people that really need to have a serious conversation and show them some serious facts, because, like, they've fallen and they can't get up.
Yeah, I don't care what color your hair is. Just stop doing the stupid shit that we've all been doing.
Show up to the school board, everybody's got their hair multicolored.
This is for you, Morris. Middle fingers flying.
Figure out what I'm thinking. Well, that's different. I'm talking about like in a random, you go out to a protest or downtown.
I know what you're saying. And it's very stereotypical,
Well,
yeah.
That's what we do as humans, by the way. We stereotype everything so that you know what to avoid and what not, and what is safe and what's not safe.
Yeah.
It's a defense mechanism. Just like they may see, oh, this guy's got a thick goatee, Boston accent, and then people are going to judge you and make all kinds of assumptions about you. Same with me, with my, I used to have a Texas accent.
Still do a little bit.
I mean, you can hear me talking on a train, and the other Texan will be like, oh, Texan, nice, I'm home. Everybody else will be like, hey, Texan, bravado, steers and beers, nothing but steers and beers from Texas.
That is not the saying.
Yeah, a lot of good beer in Texas. St. Arnold's. Check it out.
That's not how it goes. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's crazy.
I threw you off with my steers and beers.
No, I just don't even, like, it's...
No, I know. You start thinking about it too long, and then you start getting like, what the hell?
Yeah, like, I'll do these shows sometimes, and then after the show, I'm just like, what's the point?
Well, the point is it's cathartic. It also lets our 50 to 100 viewers know that somebody else probably agrees with them somewhat. And if we're wrong, then those 50 people can send us an email at Tim and Steve NH. Oh, Tim and Steve Show.
Tim and Steve Show NH at gmail.com.
Send us.
Can you imagine now what kind of crap's going to come up on my phone because I Googled KKK imagery for the show?
Yeah. You're going to get canceled.
Well, you can't cancel me.
I know, but you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, my God.
Cut my platform, but that's about the end.
You recognize something that is a pattern and it's got a negative connotation, so you must be part of that negative connotation. That's how people's logic goes these days. Not all people. Not our great listeners.
No, we got good people that listen to us. Some people listen to us to see what we're doing and try to cancel us.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I ain't going anywhere.
Nah, not really.
Go take a nap, maybe.
Naps are good. I was supposed to get here early this morning. And I was like,
Yeah, you were. I've been up and at 'em for quite a while.
did I get here at like 9 o'clock or something? 9:30. I was out of bed like 8 o'clock. It's so bad. Like, I used to be good at getting up early, and then now I kind of stay up late, though.
I got up at whatever time Nikki pulled out of the driveway to go to her doctor's appointment. It's like 6:50 or something. Was when I finally got up, like, out of bed. But I didn't know that she left, so I was looking for her. But it must have been the ring that woke me up. But I didn't process it anyway, so I was walking around the house for like 2 minutes looking for her.
Where the hell did you go? All right. So, anyways, so we have Chief Lee on Thursday, and we will somehow, one way or another. I've got our new table, whatever, like 90% done. But I stopped on Saturday because I got fucking pissed. It's like a 5-inch pine board. I was like stripping off like a little amount of it, and I must have got like
a knot or something.
No, a little too sideways or something. It come off. It hit my thumb, which didn't really hurt it too much, but then like smoked me right here, and so I actually shaved with the electric.
When you first got here, I was like, I think that's from where you got hit with that board.
Yeah, I got smoked right here. A little bit of blood. Could have been way worse, but then I was just pissed because it could have been way worse. It hurt.
Do you have goggles on?
No.
You
Nothing.
have some safety glasses on. That's one thing I try to do.
Screw the safety glasses. I need a shield. Like the whole shield.
You need one of those COVID shields?
Yeah. It's about the only thing I wear it for.
Well, the Secretary of Defense wears them. So, did.
But anyway, so I just got the front, I got one little small spot to finish. And I don't know. I wanted to epoxy coat it, but then, so that way it's all smooth. Because there's like little, I'm not professional at this. I use the lumber head. That would fill every little hole. The other thing I could do is just poly it. Or you could just take a little bit and fill it into the holes. Yeah, I could just say screw it, put some wood glue in the thing, and just bring it up. And
I have like a.
I'm being too picky, I think.
Yeah.
And first of all,
it's
then
not going to be that visible on the thing.
Not really. It's just going to be our set. Like, it's not even going to be like. Yeah. I mean, this table is far from perfect, and that doesn't bother me at all. So, but anyways, I want to get it here though. So I really want to get it set up before the chief comes in. But yeah, I'm excited about.
Yeah, I was excited to find out what's going on around town. Get some.
Yeah. The chief in. I'm going to work on trying to get some other people in too. Working on a story for maybe our next show about the lady that was arrested. 13 people arrested at the executive council thing that seemed to be picked out of the crowd, and I want to talk about that.
Yeah, Nikki watched that and was like, "What the heck? Have you watched this?" Like even Nikki.
It's almost a year old, and she's just seen it. Yeah, like so it's. Yeah.
In our own state.
Yep, our own state, King Sununu. All right, so last thing, I saw this on Friday, and I was like, because we don't often have like either feel good stories or funny stories or whatever. It seems a lot of times like it's like doom and gloom, even though it's not meant to be. It's just for us because we're so in it. It can feel that way sometimes. She's like, because we look for everything now, and it's like, when people out there are like, they want to hear fun things, they want to have fun, whatever. So,
I think we could. I have ideas about how to mix it up so that we don't just seem like we're doing, because we're not doom and gloom. Like, we have a lot of fun, and
we always have fun.
Yeah, get along with most people.
We always have fun.
Unless you got multicolored hair, then I'm going to judge you before you even talk.
Yeah.
Just kidding. He's not kidding. I try to have good conversations with everybody, because at the end of the day, that's all anybody wants, is to feel like they're being listened and heard. Most people. Now, some people want more than that, but you know what I mean? Like, regardless of their hair color, like we always say, come sit here and tell us how messed up we are, because we might learn something.
So this is gonna be a goal for me. I'm gonna find.
Doubt it, but we might.
I'm gonna have to find someone with
pink and blue hair.
Yeah, that can come in here and
school me on some stuff.
I mean, I'm probably gonna have to really search, but I'll do it. All right. So, and this is as local as in Mass, so fairly close. Brockton, Mass. There was a police chase with an emu. And I have a video, which is like a news story of it. And I saw this, and I was like, this is funny, and we should share this on the show. So check this video out of the emu of Brockton, Mass.
Surveillance video shows Mallory the emu strolling through this intersection in Brockton. Another video posted on Facebook shows her running alongside a car.
Something probably come down through here and scared her.
Lee Flaherty thinks a wild animal likely caused Mallory to jump over her 6-foot fence at his home in East Bridgewater. She was still hanging around the yard as he and his wife pulled in the driveway. He was trying to coax her back inside when a truck came along and spooked her.
It can do about 35, so she was flying. She ran all the way up to the intersection and then cut into a field. I got up to her at the field, and I was walking with her there, and she wouldn't come to. She was terrified.
Soon, social media and police lines were lighting up as Mallory zigzagged past Massasoit Community College, Brockton Hospital, and eventually towards the center of the city.
There's plenty of great people that slowed down and tried to help, but then there was another car that got frustrated and honked his horn.
After about 3 hours, Flaherty and police corralled Mallory in this shopping center parking lot.
Took this and put it over her head while we were laying her down, and then they took this and wrapped it loose so it stayed over her face.
After a cramped ride in the back of Flaherty's SUV, Mallory is now back in her pen with companion Mickey. Flaherty says Mallory is shaken and tired, has an injury to her leg, but it looks as if she'll be okay.
What do you think? You're driving down the road. I mean, we live up here with wildlife. Like, you see a cow down the road, pig, something like it wouldn't surprise me. But what do you think about, an emu / ostrich, which do the same basic family? That's pretty crazy.
Or genus, I don't
know. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, this guy's emu got out, and I guess it was kind of tracking all around Massachusetts, well, the town of Brockton, and he did get it back, of course. But
they may know that he has emus, in the town, so it might not be that.
You ever seen an emu egg? They're like.
We were driving by somewhere up here, and I noticed some emus, and I think Zeta was in the car with me. I was like, "Did you see those emus?" She's like, "No, there aren't." I'm like, "No, I just saw them right back there."
They can run like 35 miles per hour. That's a big ass turkey. Like, that's a big bird.
It's a big bird.
Good thing they don't fly. Drop on those eggs. Like,
it's funny that you say that. But I saw a picture of a park ranger sitting in a bald eagle's nest. It looks like something out of a cartoon.
They capture him?
No, but it was built up, and if it's real, because I remember when I drove down the road and there was a bald eagle eating the carcass right out here outside right on the curve there. That thing looked at me like, back your car up. Like, it was a big bird. And I was in my lifted Jeep that I had at the time.
He did have a really manly looking nice Jeep. I will totally vouch for that. And then he got rid of it so his wife could have that Jeep. Yep. Just throwing that out there.
Hey.
The manliest part of you got traded in that day.
Hey, I got my green Jeep still. That's
I said, the manliest part of him traded it in.
Still got bigger tires on it. I know. It was a nice Jeep. I liked my white Jeep. But anyway, that bald eagle looked at me, and I remember thinking, like, man, that's gigantic. But then when I saw the park ranger sitting in the eagle's nest. It's pretty big. It looks like something out of a cartoon. How you remember the cartoons?
Pterodactyls.
Where basically where like you see a human sitting in this gigantic nest, and you're like, man, what bird is that? Well, bald eagles can build a pretty big nest.
I love seeing bald eagles.
If that's true, you know. Like,
we see a lot of bald eagles around here now. Because to me, it just symbolizes America, which it's supposed to. Obviously, it's our national bird, but I see that, and it's patriotic to me.
I see turkeys, and I think the same thing. It reminds me of Ben Franklin, because didn't he want the turkey to be the national bird?
I think it was Franklin. That would have been the stupidest thing ever.
Well, it's not as majestic. It's more of a sustenance, anyway, showing that we eat turkeys over here. But, yeah, the bald eagle's pretty badass. I'm telling, I wish I would have had video, a dash cam, the way it looked like something out of a movie, because it just kind of turned as it saw my headlights coming and was just like, get off the road, bitch.
Nowadays, if we almost should, the bald eagle and all that, it's time.
He was drinking a leftover
twisted tea
that was on the side of the road with the carcass.
That's how badass they are. Biden's going to come out with a new bird. It's going to be a freaking chickadee. It's the bird of America. Chirp, chirp.
I could see him trying to do some more crazy stuff.
Yeah. Here's the bald eagles ripping apart a dead animal, drinking a twisted tea.
I just want to apologize for our viewers and listeners. I've been trying to break down the table of contents so that you can fast forward and skip anything that doesn't sound like it interests you. But on our last show, once between either the fascism, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or was it George Webb?
Gary
Webb. So somewhere between in the last hour, we hit on something that they did not want us to be able to bookmark for you to be able to, because I looked it up, all my times match and everything else. So just so everybody's aware, I apologize, but there were a lot more choices, so you could skip through. There's 5 or 6 of them that they left off after.
You shouldn't encourage our people to skip through a show. And
No, but you know what I'm saying? What if somebody's watched Flint Town or they want to watch it and they think, oh, wow, there might be spoilers. Nikki started watching it after listening to you talk about it on the show the other day.
Yeah, I finished it last night. There was only I think 6 episodes. Flint Town in 2017 was the poorest city in the United States of America. That's effed up. Don't you feel like some responsibility falls on Ford and the car dealerships or car manufacturers?
Well, the responsibility falls on
the government, state,
the policies made to entice them to leave that area. But you would usually so how much of it's true? We'd have to talk to somebody that worked there and got laid off or whatever. But so in St. Louis, when they shut down the big Chevy plant, there was a big, gigantic Chevy plant in St. Louis. And then after the first year, they shut it down. Then they offered the workers jobs at the dealerships. They try to find them jobs or whatever. Yeah. But I don't think that they move them down, right? Because they're trying to also avoid bringing the same people because they don't want the union, allegedly, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So they offer some assistance. At least they did back in 2008-9. Chevy did with that factory.
I don't know. I'm still not trying.
Because it was kind of close. So I talked to people.
Right. I'm not really trying to blame Flint and Detroit just on car manufacturers, but.
Well, so when that happens, just like here in town, right? So what are we, property poor, or whatever? They always use these phrases to try to describe Newport.
Property poor, cash poor, property rich.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah. Flip-flop. But at this, what we were talking about earlier, it should be a joint thing. All right, so we have this guy who wants to put in these apartments. What businesses can we get in here to entice businesses to come in so that they have somewhere to work? Because we also need, jobs for these people.
Well, I was looking at downtown. I got my haircut the other day. I was looking at downtown Newport, which we always talk about how beautiful. Like I love downtown Newport. It's picturesque. But I'm like looking across like McCrillis and Eldridge looked, you know, how like that's an empty building now, part of it at least. I was like, so we're gonna like do this mill building and put all these people in there and whatever, but why aren't we spending time or effort into how do we revitalize our downtown that is slowly kind of disappearing, and how well is our downtown going to be if those buildings are empty and they're run down? And is there any consideration of that?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know either. I know someone who probably won't come on the show and talk about it. Man, it's hot as hell up here now, dude. You could say some propane if you didn't have that thing up so high.
Good point. I'll remember that.
Yeah, remember that. Wow. Freeze to freaking death in here. All right, guys. Oh, yeah, I got a meme of the day. This fits today. I've had this for a little while, too. Blind belief in authority is the greatest enemy of the truth.
Yeah. Question everything. If somebody doesn't want to have a conversation with you, that means that their story ain't holding up in their own mind, much less when they try to tell it to you. Just trust me.
Yeah.
Once. Right? Ooh, shut off.
Yeah. The other thing too, we watched this after the show on Friday, was Laura Boebert going after the Twitter people, and I want to say that for another day because the show's running long. But that was the best one out of all of them. So we'll definitely share that next show. She rips them apart.
She rips them apart, and she does a little AOC flair for the drama there.
Yeah. So
I think she did a little bit better than AOC because hers made a little bit more sense. Or it made sense to me, but
yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the weather today and this week because it's supposed to be beautiful out. Sounds like some rain at the end of the week or whatever, but it's going to be warm. It's February. Enjoy it. This is your fall spring. Be prepared to get slammed down later with the reality of our lives up here. But, yeah, do something nice for somebody today. Compliment someone if they have blue hair and you think it looks good or something, you know?
I'm going to go down for my blue-haired, pink-haired comment, but I don't know, man. 90% of the time, I can pretty much tell you all the time what their priorities in life are. I might be wrong.
Maybe they're just like trolls. You know, like the little
I
trolls.
got troll dolls downstairs from when I was in high school. I used to keep them in my golf bag for good luck.
We'll talk about that on another show. All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Artlist.io